If you see about the people, they'll see about you. And one thing the people knew in the white neighborhood, in the black neighborhood, if we rain, Fred was spraying. So I was born and raised in them. When I moved to Mobile, I joined the neighborhood organized workers. I was working full-time at the U.S. Postal Service. I was working in civil rights, and I was taking a full course at the University of South Carolina. Remember, all at the same time. I graduated with honors. I have gone all over this world recruiting business for the city of Mobile. I'm proud of every moment. Tell everybody out there who may listen to this, don't back down. Set yourself some goals and don't stop until you fulfill those goals. That's my position. I am Fredrick D. Richardson, Jr., better known as Fred. I was born in rural Conecuh County, community called Neps, Alabama. I'm the fifth child, first boy. My great-granddad was a white man. My mother looked pretty much like a white woman, but my dad was dark. So my first four sisters were very fair. And when I was born on Labor Day, my dad broke up an event at the school and brought all the people down to see his boy. And they sent a lady in the community, my grandmother's first cousin, they sent her in, and she announced that I was an ink spitter. And my mother relayed that to me when I was a bigger boy that I could remember, and I was bothered by that. What she was implying was, because of the color of my skin, hope unborn had died before I was born. That there's no hope for this child because of the color of his skin. He cannot achieve nothing. He cannot be anything. That this is a sad moment for this family because this little boy cannot be anything because of the color of his skin. Well, my mother, my father, and my grandmother were standing there. And it seems to me they resolved in their heart at that moment, the devil is a lie, that it will not happen. So it was 12 of us in all. I would say it was more emphasis placed on me than any of the other 11 siblings. And the reason being, they wanted to ensure that that prediction about who I am and what I can be and what I can achieve would not come true. I cannot help but believe that it was by divine providence that Daisy Howard, the lady who went in to take a look at me, was standing there. And it was by divine providence that she made that statement that I was an ink spitter. Because had she not made that statement, I doubt if my parents and my grandmother would have put the emphasis on making sure that I received all the education and training I need so I would not fail. I doubt if they would have devoted that extra time to me. So the Lord had something for me to do. He had somebody standing there, and I guess she thought she was doing what she was supposed to do. What she really did, she spurred my parents and grandparents into action to make sure that I had what I needed in order to be what the Lord wanted me to be. So I was born and raised in them. I didn't go to high school. I didn't finish high school because by state law, I could not attend Evergreen High School. The bus drove us by the high school, but it carried all black people that was old enough to go to high school over to a training school. I graduated from Conecuh County Training School, and what that school was supposed to do, the school was supposed to make sure that I didn't receive an education equal to white children, to make sure that I would fail at whatever I set out to do. That was the intent. That didn't happen. I moved when I was 18 years old when I finished Conecuh County Training School. Left home with not one nickel in my pocket because my daddy died when I was 16, and left my mother in the house with 9 children, and she was unemployed, and we was living on the farm. So we didn't have anything. But I can tell you this, out of the 10 that lived to get grown, all 10 finished high school and 7 attended college. My sister Wilma and I graduated from University of South Alabama the same night. So none of that was enough to stop anybody in our family. My brother under me became mayor of North Randall, Ohio. We went on about our business, and nothing they did was able to stop us. Let me tell you about what life was growing up in the South. We had to be educated on what to do and what not to do. The community I lived in was an all-black community. There was no white people there. So we had absolutely no problems when we got back to our own community. But when we left the community and went to town, you had to know what water fountain not to approach, what bathroom not to approach, to bow your head and say yes sir and yes ma'am. You had to know what to do to stay out of trouble. I obeyed all of the rules. I didn't go there. I didn't go uptown trying to break any rules. We knew exactly what to do. We had to act like we were less than who we were. It was a time in which we lived. When I moved to Mobile, after the death of Dr. Martin Luther King, I joined the Neighborhood Organized Workers. That was the only freedom fighting group that had mass meetings in this city. And the purpose of this group was to make sure we achieve equality, that we were treated the same as any other human being. And I was on the front line. As a matter of fact, it was 4 executive board members in that organization. I was one of the 4 executive board members. So I put my life on the line. I put my family's life on the line in order to knock the wall of segregation down in the city of Mobile. And you know what? We knocked it down. And I can say this for today. If it is to be, it is up to me. There are people still complaining about the white people. Don't you allow that to happen. Stand your grounds. Stand your grounds. If I could leave NEMS with a second-rate education, take a 4-hour U.S. Postal Service exam, passed it, and went on to become manager of station and branch operation with the U.S. Postal Service. If I could go out to the University of South Alabama and they tell me because you finished from a training school, you cannot attend, I said no. Because you are believing that I don't know enough to attend here. And they said yes. I said, I didn't come here because of what I know. I came here because of what I don't know. I recognize I don't know enough, but I was told you had all PhD professors that knew a lot. I'm here to find out what they know. I want them to teach me what they know. And if I fail to learn it, fail me. And all I'm requesting is, I know I didn't learn enough. Let me go to class. And they said, well, what are you majoring in? I said, political science and history. They said, let him go. He would not graduate here. That there's no way in hell that he would graduate at the University of South Alabama in political science. I was working full-time at the U.S. Postal Service. I was working in civil rights, and I was taking a full course at the University of South Alabama, all at the same time. I graduated with honors. It's hard enough to graduate if you just go into school as a student. No. I had to work at the postal service and carry the mail. I was on the front line with the marches with the neighborhood organized workers. You know how come? Because all knowledge comes from God. If God says so, can't nobody stop it up. Here to tell everybody out there who may listen to this, don't back down. Set yourself some goals and don't stop until you fulfill those goals. Because at that intersection, where opportunity meets preparation, at that intersection is where success is. If you're not prepared, it doesn't matter how many jobs they offer out there, you're not gonna get them. But at that intersection where preparation meets opportunity, stand there, get your job and go ahead on about your business. I am very satisfied with what has happened. I have seen the worst, but I have seen the best. It that happened by osmosis. We fought for where we are, and we're not going back. My slave ancestor said, before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home and live with the Lord and be free. That's my position. I would have been stopped in my tracks if I didn't have an education. And I knew when I left home what I had to do. I applied at Knoxville College in Knoxville, Tennessee before I left Conecuh County Training School, and they accepted my application on a work study program because my mother didn't have a nickel to give me, and I knew that. But the cold came early and killed all of the crops. They had no work for me to do. You know why I think the law did that? Because if I had gone to Knoxville College, which is a predominant black college in Knoxville, Tennessee, if I had gone there and graduated, I would have felt like I was educationally equal to any other black person. The work that the Lord had for me would lead me through North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia, to stand on the international stage around this world and represent the city of Mobile. So the Lord let the crops fail in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And the Lord sent me straight to the University of South Alabama to equip me so I would have the knowledge and the training and the education where they can't call me down saying, you are not prepared, you are not equipped. It's nothing they can say. I'm the only political scientist they had at the city of Mobile. As the Mobile City Councilman, they had no other political scientists there but me. I took low to no man, nobody. And I didn't come asking them what I could do. I studied the law to find out what I could do. And it was education that led me all around the world, and I didn't equivocate. I didn't take low to nobody, and I will not take low to nobody today. I am prepared and equipped to stand on any stage and represent. When I was in high school, religion, history, and politics, those three subjects were of most interest to me. I had no idea I would end up at the Mobile City Council. I had no idea I would end up there. But when I went to South Alabama, I declared my major to be political science and my minor to be history. And once I got my undergraduate degree, I went back to graduate school in history, and I have not regret. If I had to go all over again, I wouldn't go in engineering, although there's lots of money to be made in engineering. It is of no interest to me. I would go the same route. I would go political science and history. So once I got involved in civil rights, and once I had to confront the city of Mobile for our equal rights, then my point was then I could do better if I was sitting on the seat on one of those seats down there. I already can do something. But since I had spent all of these years fighting City Hall for equality, a lot of people felt like I didn't stand a chance to become a Mobile City Councilman, that the community would go against me, especially the white people was going to go against me, because they took that to mean, took the struggle I was in to mean that we were fighting against white people, when we were not fighting against white people. We were fighting for black people. We were not trying to take anything from them. We wanted to be included. My fight was for inclusion. So I ran. I lost in 1993. But there was a runoff between Ermentine Watson and Vivian Figures. Okay, I knew then whoever I endorsed would win. So what I did, both of those candidates asked me to support them. I went back to my campaign team and they said, no, we want you to endorse Vivian Figures. So I called them up and told them that I will endorse Vivian Figures. So they set out to appoint me on committees and pay my campaign debt off. No, I don't want none of that. I want Councilman Figures to commit today that if for whatever reason she leaves this office, she would endorse me. That's all I'm asking for. I don't need no money. I don't need no position, but I want her to commit. Vivian Figures said, if I leave this office for any reason, I would endorse you, and I endorsed her. And she had written out a script for us to go before the mayor. Said, no, I want us to be unscripted. I want us to speak from our heart. We had a tremendous media event whereby I was announcing her to be the next councilwoman. I had no knowledge that before her term would end, that Senator Michael Figures would die. I had no idea of that. A powerful man, a friend of mine, an outstanding man. But when he died, Vivian Figures decided to run for his office in Montgomery as the state senator. But it created a vacancy on this Mobile City Council. I didn't have much expectations because she was born and raised here. She had friends that she was raised up with that supported her just like I did, and I figured it was a great possibility that she wouldn't honor her request. Lo and behold, Senator Figures recommended my name to Michael C. Dowell, the mayor of the city of Mobile, to replace her on the Mobile City Council. I was blown slap away. Well, I was put on the agenda. Mayor Dowell placed my name on the agenda. I needed 5 votes. There wasn't but 6 people on there, and out of the 6 people, 2 of them were black, and one of them, Councilman Thomas Sullivan, had already recommended Leophas Lyles, another black person, to sit on the seat. So I know he wouldn't be voting for me. I had 1 black person down there that was gonna vote for me, if possible. That was Clinton L. Johnson. The other 4 people were white. I didn't think I stood a ghost of a chance because I had fought those white people so hard for inclusion. I figured they would hold me responsible for that. I was sitting there, and there was a lot of discussion about, from the African-American community, about why Fred Richardson should not be a council member. And the white council members were just sitting up there. So finally, Councilman Charlie Walter said, I've heard enough. It's time to vote. We don't need no more discussion. And I figured this is it. This is it. They called for the vote. All 4 white council members voted Fred Richardson. We had Councilman Sullivan arguing why Fred Richardson should not be. Councilman Clinton L. Johnson said, I support Fred Richardson, which gave me 5 votes. And I became a Mobile City Councilman. Through trials and tribulations, I became a Mobile Councilman in 1997. And I served 25 years on the Mobile City Council. Some great things that I witnessed as a council member. I was a part of the Chamber's recruitment team. And what made us different from other cities, there is an international chamber of commerce. That means that in every major city in the world, there is an American Chamber of Commerce. It's one in Russia. It doesn't matter what the name of the city. There is it's called AmCham, American Chamber of Commerce. If a company, let's say in France, is seeking to locate somewhere in America, they will send that notice to all the Chamber of Commerces in the United States. So when we get that bang, bang, say, okay, ThyssenKrupp is looking to locate in the United States to build the largest steel mill in America, maybe in the world. Well, they're located in Germany. So we call our team together. This expert team, black and white. We head straight to Germany. And we put a show on the road on why you should come to Mobile, Alabama. We talk about our port. We're 3 shipping hours from the Gulf of Mexico. We talk about our intercoastal waterways where we can barge whatever you build, we can barge it all the way to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We talk about 3 railroads. We talk about 2 interstates. We go in and talk about what, if you get here, what we can do. All our universities and colleges. And what we got through it, ThyssenKrupp agreed. Mind you, they went all over the United States. But now when we went, we asked our senior senator, our senior congressman, we asked our governor to all go with us. So we had county commissioners, city councilmen, the mayor, all are standing there saying, we want you to come. So when we did that, ThyssenKrupp went to all these other places that they got the U.S. congressman not speaking to the mayor. You got the mayor not speaking to his council members. We're coming to Mobile. And that's how we got him. No council member ever left the city of Mobile to recruit any businesses but me. I'm the first council member who left this city to represent the city of Mobile. So I was crucified by the media. The media put me in the paper, put everywhere I traveled, how much I spent, said it was a vacation. All he's done is using city money for vacation. So then we had Airbus. We had to go to France, we had to go to London, we had to go to Japan, we had to go all around the world to get Airbus. I was on every trip. We ended up with Airbus. Then I read, we had Ulster here. They had high-speed boats, pleasure boats. They made the world's fastest high-speed pleasure boats in the world, right here in Mobile. I read where Ulster had put a bid in to build the Navy's littoral combat ships in Mobile. I said, what? I told my office, I said, hey, get the CEO, the international CEO of Ulster on the phone and make me an appointment. So I got to go all the way to Australia by myself. So they set me up an appointment, got my hotel and everything ready. I packed my bags. I didn't tell nobody nothing. I headed to Australia. It so happened that Connie Hudson, who was on the county, was going with Murphy High School to Australia. I asked Connie to accompany me when I go meet with the people at Ulster. We got over there. They put us on a yacht, took us out on the ocean. They wanted to know, what can we do for you, Fred? I said, is it true that you are building the world's fastest pleasure boats in the city of Mobile right now? Yes, we are. So why, I said, if you get the contract to build the littoral combat ship, why would you want to build that ship here in Australia? When you can build it in America, you can build it in Mobile, Alabama, you can retrofit your plant and build the ship cheaper in Mobile, Alabama. He said, well, Fred, we never thought about it. I said, would you consider that? He said, let me tell you right now, if we get the contract to build the littoral combat ships, we would retrofit our factory in Mobile and we'll build that ship, those ships out of Mobile. I said, that's the only reason I came. The only seed that's gonna grow is the seed you plant. If you don't plant no seed, you would have no harvest. On the way back home, Connie said, Fred, do you really think they're gonna build, if they got that contract, they're gonna build? I said, Connie, the only thing we can do is go ask them. My job was to go ask them. We can't make them do that. But hopefully, that's what they'll do. About 6 months later, it was announced by the Navy that Ulster got the contract to build the littoral combat ship. I just was sitting. Finally, the newspaper said, Ulster has announced it will build the littoral combat ships in Mobile, Alabama. I thought the earth had quaked. It was a great moment, but let me tell you what happened after that. Lanyard reporter went on and published, they said, for the trip to Australia, it cost the city of Mobile about $4,000. And then they said how much I spent going to Germany and on and on. So how I put all of this to rest at a council meeting, I told the council president, Mr. President, I would like a few moments to talk about my travel. I said, I have a list of it from Lanyard, a list of all of the places. And let me say that the reporter did a great job and put this together. It took a lot to do this. And I said, but it's 3 cities that he, around the world that he left on. It's not, I spent more money than this because there were more cities. I don't know how he left that out. And he was standing there and said, brother, let me give you an A for putting all this together to let the citizens of the city of Mobile know how much money I spent. How I blame you, brother, is because you didn't tell them what I achieved. You didn't tell them what, you just left it out there like I went on there and spent money and came back. You didn't tell them that I went to Australia to get Ulster that is now employed 4,000 workers. And you are complaining about a hamburger that I ate while I was over there, brother. You are complaining about a hotel room I slept in. But you 1,000 workers right over there working. No one went to Australia but Fred Richardson. I said, brother, I went to France and I went to England, but we brought back Airbus, the third largest company that assembled airplanes in the world, located at Brookfield Field. And you claim I went to England 4 or 5 times. What Fred doing in England? What Fred Richardson was trying to do is to get all the parts suppliers located at Brookfield Field to put our people to work. Why would we let the folks who make the wing ship the wing here where they can make the wing at Brookfield Field? I said, go to that campus. There's no room left. We almost got all the suppliers at Brookfield Field. We had to go get those suppliers. It's not osmosis. It didn't happen on its own accord. It happened because we went over there and convinced them it was cheaper to make the part here, and you right there where the people going to assemble the planes. And I did go to Germany several times, but we got ThyssenKrupp, the largest steel manufacturer in the world, just north of us, hiring thousands of workers. Nobody published another word on Fred Richardson. I said, the real trouble is the color of my skin. If one of these other brothers with lighter skin had gone and done the same thing, y'all would have put them up and praised them. You probably would have had a ticker tape parade, marched them down the street and held them up. Fred Richardson became a source of condemnation. Know how come? Because he should not have been able to do it, because your ancestors claim he was born innately inferior, that all black people are inferior to white people. And Fred has shattered that notion, and now you are angry. They didn't come back. They had no comeback. So let me just say why I'm talking. When Fred Richardson got on the Mobile City Council, I had to find out what it is that Fred cannot do. I didn't go there trying to say, let me see what the council member did that was before me, or any council members who served in this position. What did they do? It didn't matter to me. It's what you gonna do, Fred. It's your job now. It ain't what nobody else did. What are you going to do? So I took months studying the law and the rules. When I found out that nobody could stop me, no, I'm equal to any other person in city government. I had President Copeland that said, Councilman Richardson, we're gonna have to cut down on some of this traveling. I said, Councilman Copeland, slavery ended in 1865. I said, you know who bossed me? The people that put me in office. No individual down here can tell me what to do. I'm not obeying none of that foolishness you talking about. I go when I get ready and I come back when I please. If you're too gutsy to do chicken and don't have the knowledge to travel and represent, stay home. But you won't make me stay home. Nobody tried to stop me since. Nobody tried to block me. I have gone all over this world recruiting business for the city of Mobile. I'm proud of every moment. And let me just say this while we are talking. Go over there on O'Shea Road in Florida Street. I recruited Publix. And the mayor fought Publix for years. Shut them down for 40 days. Started finding them, claiming they had a sign that they're too low. Did every damnable thing to stop them. Publix is open over there right now, doing great. He didn't stop them because he thought the people didn't need a Publix over there. Somebody got to stop Fred. What's he gonna do next? If we don't stop him, what has the mayor recruited? Nothing. You know why he hasn't recruited nothing? Because he kicked all of the blacks off the team that I was on, and he took lily white people all around the world. People are not stupid. When they found out we were coming, they read everything about us. That it is a majority black city. It's more blacks in the city than anybody. But when you show up with an all-white team, it sends a signal that something is wrong. You got all them black people, you can't find one worthy. They vote no. Whatever they went over there for, no. But we had a mixed team, it was yes every time. That these people getting along, we'll be glad to go to a city like this. Today, he doesn't know how come Fred was successful and I failed. Brother, you can't read the handwriting on the wall. And he never notified me where they was going or he'd come back and announce where they went. I'm not taking Fred because he's gonna overpower me when we get there. I'm not taking Fred. So I had to do my own recruiting. I recruited Sefco at Spring Hill and Mobile Street. I recruited Sefco. I invited the Moon Pie General Store. It's the largest retail store downtown. I recruited on my own. I recruited them. So I had to go on my own. When I was with Mayor Dow, I had none of those issues. Dow and I was together on all trips. The folks had been on the council years before me, was sitting in their seat, just shaking their head like, what the hell? What is he doing now? Because they had already figured out what their place was. I ain't got no defined place. My place is to be wherever I can help the city of Mobile, anywhere in the world. They didn't see that. I've said enough about that. I've enjoyed my tenure on the council, and I thought it was well spent. And I didn't leave the council because I didn't think I was effective. I left the council because I felt if I ran for mayor and got that position, I could be more effective. So I was trying to increase what good I could do by serving as mayor, but I don't have nothing negative to say about my tenure as a Mobile City Councilman. Mobile Metropolitan Organization, the MPO, it's the organization that all federal funds for infrastructure work, the federal funds are given to the MPO through the state. The federal government gives the funds to the state gives them to the MPO. I have witnessed $500 million in the last 20 years coming into Mobile, Alabama for infrastructure work. 99.9% of all of those funds was spent west of I-65. And the mayor is the chairman of the MPO. I was one voice on the MPO and I didn't stand a chance. I screamed and hollered about what we need. Highway 98 is 4-lane. Highway 90 is 4-lane. Highway 43 is 4-lane. Highway 45, 2-lane. No curves, no gutters, no sidewalk, it's 2-lane. The reason they won't put the money in it because when you get into Mobile, Highway 45 is all black. All black, ain't no white people living on 45. They refuse to do it. Right now you go up Ziegler Boulevard, the winding Ziegler Boulevard, all the way up to Schillingers Road. They're getting ready to widen McGregor Avenue, $25 million. You got C.J. Small down there, got Ann Street sinking, Baltimore Street sinking. He's having to use his CIP funds to try to fix those streets. Gina ain't using one dime of her money to fix Ziegler Boulevard. The folks in power, the mayor and that group, they believe that they will be demeaned if they help these black districts. they figured that it'll go against them in the white community if they did anything. I have rehabilitated about 14 ditches in Trinity Gardens. I had to pay, I used all of my CIP funds to do that. You got ditches running parallel to the street where you can't have no sidewalks and the kids can't ride the bicycle because the street's so small. If you got nowhere to go but the ditch, so they can't even ride a bicycle. When it rains, it floods those streets and water stays in those ditches year round. It's unsanitary. You think the city would put in to get grants to fix those ditches? Not 1 cent. And when they ever get money, you think they would give us some of that money for the ditches? Not one. We could have long filled every ditch out there. The city could have gotten money from the federal government to close every ditch. Until I start and since I'll be gone, not the first ditch be closed. Not one. What's happening now is that we got a majority black city. The mayor is annexing 26,000 people from West Mobile. It's going to cut out blacks being in the majority. In the 2021 election, the mayor escaped. He escaped because the pandemic was at its highest level. He was running against Fred Richardson. He knew he was in trouble. But the Republican, Trump, them didn't count the pandemic. They wasn't thinking about no mask or taking no shot. Black people stayed home, and I don't blame them because CDC told them not to get in no crowd, stay home, unless it's absolutely necessary. We had the lowest turnout in the history of the city of Mobile in the 2021 election. He knows the next election there will be no pandemic. He would probably lose. So he has to do something before the next election. He annexed 26,000 white people. Gonna set us back 100 years, and all 3 of the minority representatives voted for annexation, despite hundreds of people that marched down there and opposed them. I went down and told them what would happen if they did. It meant nothing. And you'll hear people say, they're saying that by President Biden, that they need young people up there. It's time for the old people to go home. The Lord called Moses at 80 years old to lead his people out of Egypt. At 80 years old. My point is, if it was time for young people, we had 3 less than 50 years old, 3 young council members, and all joined forces with the mayor to bring 26,000 white people into our city. There's no revenue out there. It's about revenue because we got to pick up their trash, garbage, police, fire. We got to hire new police officers, new patrol cars, new fire trucks. With all of the new personnel we're going to have to get to drive those garbage trucks and all of that, there's no revenue out there to pay for it. We took Highway 90 all the way to Theodore under Sam Jones. We got the revenue. We took Schillinger's Road all the way wherever they had businesses. We already got all of that. So you got a store over here, drugstore over there, that won't even buy a fire truck. The only reason he's made them in here is so he'll have enough votes to still be the mayor. Who gonna hurt? We gonna hurt. We're already behind the 8 ball, and we have less money. They'll have less money to spend on us because they got to go pick up the trash, garbage. We're going down, down, down. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. The city of Pritchard wanted to be bigger. So they took Highway 45 at Pritchard Avenue. If you stay on St. Stephen Road, you can go all the way up to Saleland. 158 in Saleland crosses over Highway 45. You're still in Pritchard. And it goes on up toward Citronelle, Alabama. Still in prison. They annexed all of that. They had to cut out trash, picking up trash. They had to cut out picking up garbage. For all residents in the city of prison, they don't pick up nobody's garbage anymore. They don't pick up anybody's trash anymore. They got about 6 police officers for the 19,000 citizens. They had to lay them off. Ain't no revenue. Because revenue comes from retail, not from affluent. The taxes I pay on this house goes to the county tax assessor and tax collector. It doesn't go to the city of Mobile. City of Mobile get your retail tax. You go to the grocery store, the city gonna get that. Go to Walmart, the city's gonna get that money. It's no businesses out there. It's great neighborhoods. You can get on Solid Road, off Cottage Hill Road. They got houses worth $3 and $4 million down there. We ain't making a dime off that. Ain't no retail. Ain't no businesses on Solid Road. And you can get all the other streets that's running off Cottage Hill Road going the same way. There's no businesses over there, but the city got to start picking up that trash and garbage in all them rich neighborhoods. We ain't making a dime off of them. That's what's gonna happen to us. But to those people down there, we don't care. We want to be bigger. And I gave them some examples of what being bigger will do by using preaching. Being bigger will close you down, where you can't provide any services to the folks that needs it the most. If you see about the people, they'll see about you. And one thing the people knew in the white neighborhood, in the black neighborhood, if we rain, Fred was spraying. They didn't even know how to call the mayor, because he got the phone fixed up where you don't talk to nobody. You can't get, no, you call Fred. I wouldn't cut none of that out. I had already learned my lesson before I ran for mayor. I just didn't get a chance to implement. For instance, Mobile got the second highest crime rate in the region. You should always do what you always did. You'll always get what you always got. We keep on duplicating our effort. I inherited the most crime-ridden district in the city of Mobile. Trinity Garden was the worst neighborhood in the city of Mobile. Somebody died every week. Somebody was dead. Dope everywhere. Went to Trinity Garden. I called the power. I got with the power company. So I need lights on every street. We lit up Trinity Garden where people could see. I put street captains. Every street had a captain on. My eyes and ears had a street captain. And every year during Christmas time, I had a big event for all of my captains. I paraded them, built them up. They were my eyes and ears. I organized. Trinity Garden is the safest neighborhood in the city of Mobile. Because those captains got out there, I gave them envelopes, self-addressed envelopes with no return address on it. I said, listen, write down what you see. Don't give your envelope, it's already stamped on it. It was addressed to me. Don't tell nobody what you've done. If you believe that there are drug dealers on your street, write the address down. Said, I believe drug dealers are this, that, and that. I got my mail down. These people claim drug dealers are at these locations. And we sent a team out there. We were surveying them. We took them out. We took every one of them out. Some of them turned their own children in. We sent them off. And people were afraid to sit on the porch in the evening. And that's over with. I would go straight to Maysville. I would have captains on every street down there. If the police could stop crime, it'll be stopped. Because we got about 600 of them. Commander policing means community got to work with the police to stop crime. If folks in Mayfield know where every criminal, they ain't telling the police nothing because don't nobody speak to them. I would have every beat, the city is broken down into beats. I would have a dedicated officer on every beat. And that beat officer would have to know the key people in this beat. Stop and talk with them. They'll call you. They ain't calling you if they figure you're going to turn it on them. They ain't telling you nothing. The beat officer would have to have quarterly beat meetings where everybody in that beat is going to be invited. So the city is broken down at beats. I mean, everybody in the city going to be at a beat meeting once a quarter. The beat officer going to give out this number. Miss Mary, I want y'all to take this number down. If something going wrong, y'all call me here. That's how we got the trust of the citizens. The police officer, Councilman Richardson, I don't know if I can give the phone number. I said, so is that a public phone? Is that your personal phone? It's a public phone. These folks paying the bill, brother. You telling me the folks that paying your phone bill, you can't give them your phone number? Then we have to take the phone from you. Ain't nobody gonna give you no phone and they can't talk to you. What do you think is for you and who? Give out the number, brother. Else I'm turning you into the mail, we're gonna take the phone. They had to get the number out. So today in those things, they know who to call. They know exactly who they got a captain, a precinct captain, they got a beat officer, they know who those people are. So if something's going wrong, let me get the beat officer. Jimmy, this is Miss Mary. Can you send somebody here on close patrol because this such thing is happening, it's over. That's how we beat them all out. They wouldn't dare put that in the newspaper because they want the people to think West Mobile is the safest part of the city. So the bad steps he got with one of our preachers. He passes out in Chickasaw, a black preacher. And every year they go up to Figures Park with the Stop the Madness rally. The safest section in the city will be Stop the Madness. Like it's so much madness going on out here among black people. I complained about it, but they didn't do nothing about it. He is working against us. Stop what madness? Man, this is the safest area in the city of Mobile. My point is, I never had the opportunity to launch the program that I know will transform city of Mobile. But the thing that I could do, for instance, there was no CIP funding. What happened was, when we had in 2008, we had a economic decline. The whole nation went into decline. It was the worst time economically since the Great Depression. So Sam Jones was the mayor, so he wouldn't have to lay off anybody. He asked us to vote for a 1 cent sales tax, to up the sales tax to 10 cents. Council went along with it. We didn't lay nobody off. The city of Mobile kept on going through all of that. Got Ben Stimson in. He's a Republican. He doesn't believe in taxes. He's gonna get rid of the penny. Gonna give it back to the people. So I went back to my council member. I said, what if we took the penny? We voted against him. And since he said we don't need the penny, let's take the penny from him. And the money that it generates, let's divide it equally among the 7 council members and call it CIP, Capital Improvement Program. That's how much would it be each body? I said, we'll have over $3 million apiece every year. What? Council member voted. They asked me to come to Washington, D.C. to talk to the National League of Cities and tell them, how could y'all do that in Mobile? Well, council members got millions of dollars at their disposal. I did that. Council members followed me. So on the day that the council voted to do it, Mayor Stimson saw we was going to outvote him. He got up and said, since you all are bound and determined to keep the penny. All I'm going to do today is ask y'all to let those funds come to my office, and we're going to get with you all and all. I stood up. I said, what Mayor Simpson had proposed is like someone who is advocating that a woman abort the baby. Don't have that baby. That's what Mayor Simpson said, give the penny back. Don't get the penny. I said, when the baby is born, they're not there advocating for the baby. I said, that's exactly what he's doing. He wants us to abort it, give the money back to the people. And now that he said we're going to get the money, I vote the money. I said, council members, let's not give Mayor Simpson one dime. They followed what I said. That's how CJ is able to work on those streets. And else, he wouldn't have one nickel. We just took the money from him, and he's still trying to figure out a way how to get the rest of the money from council members so he would have charge of it. In Trinity Gardens Park, it was not one bench out there for, if a parent came up there to watch their children play in the park, it was not one bench up there for them to sit on. And I rode the reporter through Langland's Park. Benches everywhere. Benches everywhere. Shade structures everywhere. Folks, ain't a tree out there. They're out there in the hot sun standing out there. People didn't care. They knew better than that. These black folks, that's what they deserve. I had to correct that. Had I not taken the money from the mayor, that he was trying to take that penny and put it into the CIP program and divide it equally among the 7 council districts, nothing would have changed in the city of Mobile. None of that would have changed. If I had been the mayor, I would have hired a person, and all that job would be is to find grant money. That's all that job was going to be. I want you to find whatever grant money, whatever organization is giving away money, I want you to find it. I want to close every ditch up and Trinity Garden down any neighborhood with open ditches. I don't care where it is in the city of Mobile, we're going to close them up. Get the money. I would have found the money. I would go to Washington. I would talk to the president. I'd talk to whoever I need and plead my case. I would go and do that myself. I have not failed. I got a record. I have not failed. A lot of this stuff, they want it to happen to us so they can condemn us. They black. See, you know what, they black. I've been living in this neighborhood for over 25 years. I'm the first black person to move here. But now there's blacks all over here. Neighborhood has not gone down 1 second. It got nothing to do with the color of nobody's skin. And they oppose me coming. He's gonna bring the neighborhood down. You got yourself nothing. Look at the story of John Lewis. John Lewis, he was beat up to the point of death. They were advocating the right to vote. They were just advocating the right to vote because they knew that there was power in voting. You got people who gave their life for us to have these freedoms. And this business of believing that they were wrong, it doesn't mean anything, vote doesn't mean anything. These are people that are operating on ignorance. The Genesis and the Exodus of Now is a book. I was an eyewitness to the struggle. I'm an eyewitness, and I published all the struggle we had to get to where we are. So I went out to visit the new superintendent of schools, Fredrick. He welcomed me in, treated me royally, and I gave him a copy of that book. I said, Mr. Superintendent, I would like, first of all, for you to read this book. And then let your people who order books to read it. And I want to see whether or not you can let at least high school students read about what has happened to us. He said, I'll get back with you. I promise you I'll read. So I gave him about 3 months and I called him up and made an appointment to go back to see him. He said, well, I have read the book. He said, I thoroughly enjoyed the book. So I called my team in, had them to read the book. And they told me that it should be available for high school students. So we're going to make sure that this book is made available to high school students. Somebody went back to that man and said, man, you crazy. You can't do, all you're going to do is make the white people mad. Showing what they did to stop them from being who the best they can be. Book hasn't gone nowhere. It's the same thing as Ron DeSantis. People do better when they know better. We're denied all of the education that would bring them up to par so they'll see what they should be doing. That's not available. I'm writing a movie and a book right now at the same time. The book is going to be about eliminating race, the notion of race and racism in America. And I've already contacted the vice president and several other people for them to take a look at what I'm doing. People are not going to do any better until they know any better. First of all humans are Homo sapiens. All humans. It's 8 billion humans on the face of the earth. They're all Homo sapiens. Homo sapien can only reproduce with another Homo sapien. Whoever you can impregnate is your race. Dogs can only have dogs. Dogs can't get no hog pregnant. Can only get a hog pregnant. My great-granddaddy was a white man. If he was not in the same race as my great-grandmother, he could have had a relationship with her, but he could not have impregnated her. Ain't but one race, the human race. And in order to be in the human race, you got to qualify. Humans must stand and walk upright. They must laugh, cry, think, plan, reason, read, write. I don't care where you are in the world. So for one person to tell me I'm not in their race, they got to name a function that they can perform that I can't perform. A dog can't fly, so I ain't no need a dog saying I'm in the same race with a bird. Dogs can't fly. All dogs can perform the same function. All birds can perform the same function. So I don't have no trouble with folk who claim they're not in my race. Oh, then show me what you and all of the members of your race can do that not me or anybody else in my race cannot do. They can't name a single thing. I said, y'all used to could name it when your ancestors denied us the right to go to school. You could say they can't read and write. Because they never got a chance to go to school. You can't do that now. As a matter of fact, because they've gone so far, you're trying to shut them down. The truth is what's going to set us free. We got to take the truth and beat them down. You could ask the average person what race you're in. I'm in the black race. In the black race. If your blackness is what put you in the race, what about black dogs? Are they in the race? They got black bears, you know. Are they in the race? So you're saying you're in the race because you're black? Then you got to claim black birds, black snakes, black everything. Black didn't help you, can't help you to do none of the functions you must perform. It's on your face because your ancestors came from a place where it was hot and melted. It's in your skin to keep the sun from destroying you. The other folks didn't They lost melanin. The body quit producing melanin when they got to the cold climate. Ain't got nothing to do with no race. Ignorance. People will put you down with ignorance. The reason our people are doing some of these crazy things, they don't know no better, and the folks who knows better are afraid that the white folks will condemn them if they told the truth. Fred Richardson, I ain't got no time for that. I don't waste no time with what somebody might do to me. I'm telling the truth every time, everywhere, every opportunity I get. You don't like it, you got to do something else. Brother, without an education, we're dead in our tracks. You know what happened to our children? I wanted to see the superintendent because this boy he was about 17 years old. He had killed 3 or 4 people. So I went out and I had the superintendent to bring his team in. I said, all I want you to do is give me the educational record of this child, starting from the 1st grade. So the teacher said, I thought you would want that. She said, I got the books right here. She said, in the 2nd grade, they had to expel this child. So this child ain't been nothing but trouble all his school life. I said, ma'am, the baby was crying out for help. You gonna suspend a child in 2nd grade? You should have gone and got the mama and the daddy to find out. This should never happen. The first time this boy acted up in school, said, baby, we got you. You should have really brought the mom and daddy and said, what happened to this baby? I said, you know why he was acting up in school all through the 8th and 9th grade? He can't read. He can't read. So what happens when it's time for him to read? He'll start a ruckus in the class so you won't know he can't read. I said, most of these bad kids out there, they can't read because reading is fundamental to know. No child should be left behind. If they can't read, stop them, hold it. Go get your reading profession, send them over to the reading profession, because if they can't read, they're gonna be left out. There's nothing more fundamental than an education. I wouldn't be off the ground if I didn't have an education. The kids we're losing, go check on the education. Ain't nobody down at Austin Bar done none of that. They got an education, they got a good job, they gone. But when you miss out on the education, you're on the fringes of society then. Ain't enough money coming in for you to do none of the things you want to do. So you turn to crime, drugs, and this other thing. The only thing going to stop that is the education. Parents got to demand their child have the best education. When they see the child failing, they got to call time out and go up to the schools. No, I'm not having this. I'm not losing no child. They got to cry out, I need help. Somebody got to help my child. The ones who are ahead are those who got education. There's nothing more fundamental than education. We got to make sure that our educational institutions are working for us. This business of how many folks fail, that we can't have no more. They're going straight to the prison or they're going to get killed early. I just went up to South Carolina, got a niece graduated from college, but if she had graduated in France, I'd have been on the front seat. Because you got to have an education. I saw early what I had to do. I went over to Bishop State. I went and registered for night school. I didn't have one nickel. I registered, and then I was supposed to go to the finance office. I went to class. I had been in class about 3 weeks. SD Bishop, the president of the school, came in and said, do you have a Fred Richardson in here? He's in here. Said, did you know he has not paid the school a dime? So where he is? I said, that's him right here. He said, young man, follow me. So I went in the hall. He said, are you from up the country? Yes, sir. He said, I figured there was some sort of country bumpkin that didn't have sense enough to go to pay. You can't go to school without no money. I said, I'm sitting next to a veteran. He hasn't paid anything yet. I said, he's in the same, so you ain't calling him out. He said, he's gonna get a check. I said, I'm gonna get one. When? I said, it's one coming. So he said, since you got that much nerve, I'm gonna let you go back to class. You go find my money. He didn't put me out. He sent me back. I didn't have no money. I was bound and determined. Nobody was gonna stop me. I was not gonna be stopped. What really nailed that down, when my daddy died, I was 16. I'm the oldest boy. I'm the man of the house now. So I went to my mother. I said, Mama, we're not gonna be able to make it. I said, there's 9 of us, ain't no money coming in, ain't no corn in the crib to feed the mule we got. He's gonna die on us. I want to volunteer to go into the military, and they'll send you a check every month. And I'll stay in the military to make sure that you get what you need. She said, your daddy would turn over in his grave if you could quit school. Your daddy knew that you're a smart kid. So here's a woman that got nobody coming in. Go turn down a check. Go turn the check down. No. So if I didn't have an understanding of the value of education, I got it then. My mama told me my daddy would turn over in his grave. I said to myself, I won't be stopped. Nobody gonna stop me. Because they have driven home the importance of education. Parents if they done missed it themselves, they have to drive that ball home. You're gonna get an education. You're gonna get an education as long as you stand with me. You're gonna get an education. For us to do better, we got to make sure our kids get a good education. And then we don't have to worry about none of all of this stuff we see, shooting and killing. Oh, you don't even have to go and search. They're not doing good in school. Most of them dropped out of school. So you can go to the prison camp, about 90% black. Get the man out the house, and you can shut them down. That's what has happened to us. That's what has happened. We got to force these schools to be what they're supposed to be. They must have a safety net when they see a child failing in any way. They got to find out why. I was a speaker at a Black History program. It's right out of Evergreen. They had a white lady on the program before me. She got up, she said, my husband wouldn't come in because he's afraid of black people. He's just going around in circles. She said, but I'm the local teacher. And she said, before I got my master's degree, about half of the students fail every year. She said, I thought I was doing good. She said, so I put in to get my master's degree because the school system was going to pay for it. School system said the only course available is African American studies. She said, I didn't want to take African American studies. And then I told my husband, he didn't want me to take that. He said, well, of all the courses to take, African Americans, you don't need that. And she said, I talked to my white friends, every one of them condemned African American studies. She said, I wanted a master's degree so bad, I decided to go take it. She said, I'm here to tell y'all today, it's the best college course I ever took in my life. It taught me I cannot treat all of my students equal. She said, that is out. She said, you know how many kids I have failed since I finished the African American Study course? 0. She said, let me tell y'all what I do. She said, when the bell rang, they come to my class, I look over at the mirror. The mirror hair has not been combed. I called up here. I said, Mary, go to my drawer and get the hairbrush and hair comb out, go to the bathroom, comb your hair. Hurry back. She said, look over there, one, this half sleep. I called her, man, come here. Have you had breakfast this morning? No, ma'am. Go open the drawer over there in the right corner. It's some money over there. Get some money and go to the cafeteria and get you a breakfast. She said, it's a reason why these kids failing, because the home let them down. She said, I know every kid by name. I know the grandmothers by name. I know all the dogs at the houses. I call them by the names. I have not had one child to fail. And that's what the school got to do. Somebody got to pay these kids some attention, and they can't let them fail. And they can find out what's happening to all of them and help them to overcome whatever the deficiency is, and all those kids will graduate with honors.